Becoming a parent is one of the great joys of life, but it's also one of the great stresses, particularly for mums who have to deal with all the physical changes of pregnancy, birth, and breastfeeding, as well as the social expectations that are there every step of the way. What's important is for mums to have the support and networks they need, and the permission to go through their journey their way. Come to think of it, it's not just mums who need that. It's all of us.
This is Signs of the Times Radio with Kent Kingston.
Hi, how you doing? It's great to have you with us on Signs of the Times Radio. I'm here in the studio with one of my colleagues, Ms. Kylie Banks. How are you, Kylie?
I'm great, thanks, Kent. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. Now, Kylie, tell us a little bit about yourself. You live here in Sydney, actually not far from work, which is great.
Yeah, I just walk to work.
Yeah. So tell us about the various hats you wear.
Well, I wear quite a few hats, actually. Mm-hmm. So I work for Mums at the Table with the team 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. And then I also manage social media accounts. Mm-hmm. And I have a e-commerce business that deals in all things ethical gifting.
Okay, all right. Look, that's fascinating. And you're a mum too, yeah?
I am a mum to one skin child and one fur child.
Okay. Dog or cat?
Oh, dog.
Okay, good. Just checking, because obviously it's important to some people to know if you are a dog person or a cat person. So.
Well, I'm an animal person in general, but my husband's allergic to cats, so there will be none in our household.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So you're a mum, you're a pet owner, social media, a bit of e-commerce, and Mums at the Table you mentioned. And that's really what I'd like to get into today, Kylie. What is Mums at the Table?
Mums at the Table is quite a diverse project, actually, because it has a TV show, it has a magazine, although we don't produce the magazine anymore.
Physically, but yeah, it's articles are online. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
There is a whole lot of printables that mums can access, mm-hmm. and Facebook groups that you can join and be part of. Basically, at the heart of Mums at the Table is just loving on mums and caring about mums mm-hmm. in our local communities.
Okay. It seems that in recent years, the whole area of women's media has expanded. Do you see yourself as being in that space?
Yeah, I guess we are. We do a lot of work with women, and mm-hmm. our target audience is women, particularly mums. And I guess we fly the banner for women in media.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all right. But why mums in particular? What is it about that particular demographic, that particular target group that made you guys think that, hey, this is a group that needs our attention?
I think when you become a mum first time round, it is a pretty life-changing thing. Mm. Usually you are at home. There is so much change that goes on, and it can be quite isolating. Mm. Usually your husband or your partner will go back to work and you're left to fend for it. Mm. And your body is doing all sorts of crazy things. There's so much that you don't know will happen and happens. And so it can be quite a daunting task, and it's such a big life change, I think, too, that you really don't realise just how big it is until you're actually in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm. I guess when you think about it, all the different aspects of life are challenged. As you mentioned, you may have been working full time up to that point, and then suddenly you're not. So there's that career and the identity, and then that has financial implications. Then the relational stuff, like you say, wow, it used to be just, for first-time mums especially, it used to be just, us two, the couple, and now we've got this third person that just changes up the dynamic, and that has all kinds of implications. And it's, it's emotional, it's spiritual, and it's social. Like, suddenly all your single friends are wanting to do fun stuff, and you're like, oh, I can't do it. I've got to look after a baby. Or, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, I do know what you mean. I remember when I had my son Archie, I had him in Singapore. We were living in Singapore, and at about 10 weeks old, we moved back to Australia. And I didn't have the mums groups. We weren't living around my family, so I didn't have family support.
Yeah.
And it can be a really, really lonely, daunting journey. But it can be fantastic if you're hooked into support and you feel like you've got a village around you. And so I guess for us, Mums at the Table is about creating that village around you through a time where there's just so much upheaval and change in your life.
Yeah. So Mums at the Table has a pretty active social media presence, particularly on Facebook. What sorts of issues are mums bringing up on that forum? What kinds of questions are they asking? What kinds of discussions are happening?
Oh, goodness. How long is a piece of string? That's basically, oh, look, we can have everything from, when should I start my child on solids? My child was doing this, but now they're not doing this anymore. What the heck's going on?
Yep.
Through to, I found a stash of my husband's porn magazines. What do I do? It is just so diverse.
I've heard you say a few times, Kylie, that this is not a forum where the chattering classes hang out. This is all kinds of women from all kinds of backgrounds. Can you give us a picture of the diversity that's there?
Absolutely. I mean, we have mums from all over Australia and New Zealand from all walks of life, whether they be young mums, old mums, single mums that are solo parenting it, whether they have a partner, whether they're straight, they're gay, they're happily married, they're unhappily married. Look, honestly, there are mums from all walks of life, religious mums, non-religious mums. There are no hard and fast rules on it. It's just simply mums from all walks of life.
Now, you mentioned religious and or irreligious, and obviously, Mums at the Table is run by Adventist Media, a church-related organisation. So, to what extent does religion come into it? I mean, is this a situation where a church is, preying on vulnerable women in order to sort of recruit them into their church?
Yeah, good question. And the answer to that would be no. Definitely no.
Yeah.
A resounding no, actually. In fact, the majority of the mums that are part of our online community are not Adventist. In fact, very few of them are. And if it's an Adventist mums group that you're looking for, this is not the place for you. There are other groups that offer that.
But, I mean, Adventist mums are welcome, I assume.
Absolutely, Adventist mums are welcome. But this is a place where, say, Adventist mums are just one of many perspectives that are put forward. And basically for us, we just want our members to be honest, to be open, and to be respectful of each other, and that's pretty much the boundaries and the premise of it. Beyond that, absolutely welcome to say as you feel, and as long as it's done respectfully, go for it.
Okay. So do you get the sense that this is being appreciated by these mums? Are they having their isolation reduced? Are they, having their questions answered?
Yeah, look, I would have to say yes to that because we've got over 9,000 members on our main Facebook group now. And
still growing, I understand.
Oh, absolutely. Every single day, there'll be 20 or more requests for members wanting to join the group.
Yeah, and this isn't just liking the page, this is actually a closed group.
Yeah, this is a closed group, so you actually have to request to join, and I just think that It's such an active group. I mean, I work in the social media field, as I mentioned, and for a group of 9,000 people, this is a highly, highly engaged group, and mums are asking all manner of questions, and other mums are there to support them, to help them through their journey. And yeah, it's just a great community. It's mums supporting mums. And I think that's something that can really, really reduce that isolation. And I think too, a big part of my role at Mums at the Table is establishing local Mums at the Table Facebook groups. And
that then may actually physically meet up.
Yeah. So if you're, in Sydney, we have 3 or 4 different groups around Sydney, as Sydney's a fairly large city.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 or 4 different pages of Mums at the Table groups there. For example, Blue Mountains, there's a Ride one, there's a Chatswood one, just to name a few. And when you jump on and join your local group, you have the opportunity then to actually step out from behind the computer and actually meet up and enjoy some face-to-face communication and support each other in a very real way.
Yeah, which thank goodness, thanks to the reduction of COVID restrictions, is becoming more and more possible
Absolutely.
in more and more places. So that's great. Now, look, Kylie, some of our listeners may be thinking, oh my goodness, mums. If I hear the word mum one more time, I'm changing the station. I'll listen to another podcast, thanks. We've got a great article in this month's Signs of the Times magazine by your colleague, Vania Chu. She talks about the Mums at the Table project, and you've unpacked that really well for us so far, Kylie. But she makes the point that, hey, some of the things that she's learned and that she's witnessed through involvement with the Mums at the Table Facebook group in particular, are sort of life lessons that all of us can benefit from. She goes through 5 points there. Now, are you able to summarise those for us quickly?
Yeah, Vania wrote a great article. The first point that she brought out was watching your language. And
she's not talking about swear words and things.
No, she's not actually. But anyone that is a mum will be down with the jargon of new mums, and basically
read us just the first paragraph of that article. I'd be interested to know how many of our listeners would actually be able to interpret this jargon, just to illustrate the point.
All right, here we go. FTM here. My LO has EBF since birth. Now she's 8 months. My MIL thinks she should be on purees, but I want to try BLW.
So Vania makes the point that it's not just in groups of mums who use jargon like this. It's sort of rife, isn't it, in all kinds of subcultures.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think she makes a great point there about just being aware of your audience when you're speaking and making sure that you're connecting with them in an appropriate way that they are going to understand.
Okay. And look, some of our listeners, Kylie, are probably still stuck on all those acronyms back there. Can you read the sentence again and interpret the acronyms for us just to help those playing at home?
Absolutely. So FTM here. FTM means first time mum.
Okay, so first time mum here. Okay, got that.
My LO has EBF since birth. So LO means little one and EBF means exclusively breastfed.
Right.
My MIL thinks she should be on purees. MIL, mother-in-law. But I want to try BLW. And BLW is baby-led weaning. Right,
okay, there's obviously a philosophy that you should follow the cues of your baby when it comes to switching from milk to solid foods.
Yeah, and I have to admit that even when I first read that first paragraph, there were some of them I was familiar with, and there are others that I went, what? What's this? Because my son's 9 now, so... Wow. I'm a little out of the loop on all the acronyms there.
So this is the nerdy mum scene, people. There's a nerdy mum scene out there with its own acronyms, and I guess the point is well made that we all have our little nerdy seen in our little in-group, and it can exclude others. And even, some Aussie slang that we use can be hard for, people who perhaps come from a non-English speaking background, for example. It's just, watch your language. It's a good point. I like it. What's the second point?
Second one that she makes is people should feel safe about asking questions. And this is so important. I mean, it's important in our Mums at the Table group, but it's just a great principle in life where you want to create an environment where if someone's not sure of something, you're the person that they can come and ask, or they feel comfortable enough to just say, hey, what does this mean?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I know sometimes on Facebook that you see these discussions where someone asks a question and someone else just goes, Google it.
That's it.
And in a way, you could have just Googled it instead of disturbing everyone and, another notification pops up. But from another point of view, this is about building community. So, you ask the dumb question and you get the obvious answer, but at least you've connected with a human being that day rather than just Google.
Yeah, that's right. And I think too, oftentimes context is really important.
Yeah.
And Googling it, you'll often miss the context. Whereas when you're asking a question of somebody, you can often gain a lot more from contextualizing it.
Yeah.
So, I think Vanya makes a great point there.
Yeah. And I should add, even though we use the phrase Googling, it doesn't mean we particularly support that particular search engine. I use DuckDuckGo myself. But it's a generic term that I think has just come to mean, web search engine. You've done well, Google. You've infected our language. Okay, what's number 3?
Well, number 3 is every child's different. I really love this one because as a mum, it is so interesting just watching what pace your child develops at.
Yeah.
And quite literally, every child's different. My child didn't really get teeth until he was almost 1 and didn't start crawling till he was almost 1.
Right, and it seems that sometimes you hear parents talking about their children's developmental milestones, and it seems there's a little bit of one-upmanship that comes up into it sometimes. It's like, oh, our daughter, walked at 12 months. Oh, really? Well, my daughter started walking at 11 months. Well, my sister, like her babies, all started walking by 10 months. It's like everyone's trying to
absolutely
trying to outdo
yes.
each other. And if you're the parent sitting there thinking, oh, heck, my kid didn't walk till like 14, 15 months, are they developmentally delayed? This can be a worry.
Absolutely. I mean, some kids are born with teeth. Some kids, don't get them till quite later. Some kids walk early. I know my son, he didn't bother starting to walk until about 16 months when he took his first couple of steps and then went, you've got to be kidding me. Why would I do that when I can be carried around? So he sat around for another month until he went, okay, maybe there's something in this. So it really varies, and you shouldn't be worried if your child is taking their sweet time about something.
Well, this is where I start to wonder, Kylie, because surely there's a limit to this. I mean, because surely there is a range of, normal development of a child when, there's a range when reaching a certain milestone is normal and is okay. And then there are the edges of that, which are normal and okay. But beyond that, I mean, if you've got a 3-year-old who hasn't really started talking at all, I mean, surely you've got problems.
Well, that is definitely something you do want to look into, and you'd certainly be heading for your GP as a starting point. So absolutely, but I think to feel bad because your child is only doing things a few months after someone else's child, or is really doing yourself a big disservice. But if your child is quite a long way behind, then absolutely, that's something that you really want to get onto and look into, and your GP is the best place to start.
Yeah. And I guess in a place like, the Mums at the Table Facebook group, you could be asking these questions. Hey, is it normal for my child not to have walked or talked or done this or that by this many months or this many years? And you'll start to get a feel for what the normal range is. But like you say, there are helping professionals out there. Now, look, Vania's point here is to bring each of these sort of parenting, mum kind of concerns into the mainstream for the rest of us. So how does she connect this idea of, every child is different to the wider community, to the rest of us who aren't mums?
I just think it's a great principle that spans us all. We're all different, and to be accepting and celebrate our differences, and also just to be kind on ourselves. If we're not hitting something or doing something at the same time as someone else, or if we're not as put together as that influencer on Instagram, or if our house isn't as tidy as our next door neighbours.
Let alone Marie Kondo. Yeah.
Yes, and if we're not a domestic goddess
Yep.
every day of the week, that's okay to just be kind to ourselves, My sister-in-law, oh my goodness, she is a domestic goddess in the kitchen.
Yep.
I enjoy cooking when I have the time, but I in no way, shape or form consider myself a domestic goddess. My talents lie in other places that she doesn't have. And so I help her by using my talents to give her a hand, and sometimes she helps me and makes me scrumptious meals, which I definitely appreciate. So I think it's more about accepting the fact that we're all different, and then celebrating what's good about me and what's good about you, and coming at it with that sort of focus.
Okay. So the first 3 points we've looked at are, number one, watch your language, watch the jargon. What was number two again?
Number two was people feeling safe about asking questions.
Okay. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Number three just then was...
Everyone's different.
Everyone's different. Everyone's unique. Okay, what's number four?
Nobody's perfect. Let go of your guilt.
Ain't that the truth?
I think that ties in a little bit with what we were sort of talking about.
Yeah.
Social media can be an absolute terror for this sort of thing,
It just sets the bar in such an unrealistic sort of way. You get this filtered, cropped, framed version of reality on social media, and I mean, who can ever measure up to that?
That's right. I think sometimes we are so tough on ourselves, and we forget that Instagram and Facebook and any other sort of social media platform, there's so much filtering that goes on. There's so much non-reality. I think that goes on there that
basically destructive messages in the end.
Yeah, it is. We're incredibly unkind to ourselves, when we start comparing ourselves to that sort of thing.
Sure.
And I think that Vania's point here is great, because the moment we start comparing ourselves, the moment we start to feel guilt about who we are.
Yep.
And how we're made and what we're about.
Yeah. Although, I mean, to balance that, I mean, we did an episode, our regular listeners will remember, just a week or so ago, we were talking about guilt, for example, and that guilt actually has a place. Guilt can be a good thing. If we've done something wrong, feeling guilty is actually the right response. It's a healthy response. And I don't know, sometimes I get a little bit uncomfortable with this message of, you are enough, you are not broken, whatever you are is fine, and we have, I get where it's coming from. Like, for example, we have the sort of body positive message that says, hey, don't let people tell you that you're, fat and ugly and overweight. Those are terrible ideas. Be proud of who you are. You're beautiful just the way you are. I get it. But then on the other hand, obesity is a massive issue.
Massive health issue at that.
It's a massive health... Well, that's what I mean. It's a massive health issue, and people are dying prematurely because of it. So how do we balance up this message of, hey, you're a worthy person, whatever your diversity, whatever your issues that you're struggling with, you are special, you're precious. Yeah, I get that. But on the other hand, hey, sometimes we do have issues and we do need help. We do need to recognize the fact that this is a problem. I'm not treating myself right. I'm not treating other people right. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Maybe I'm overreact, maybe a bit hypersensitive to that, but I just keep hearing this cultural message and feel the need to push back.
No, absolutely. You're right in that. And I think what happens there is possibly a little self-reflection, about what you're feeling and why you're feeling. So if you're feeling envious about something
Yeah.
or guilty about something,
Yep.
why? Why is that? Where's it coming from? What's driving it?
That's right. And if the answer is because I'm a bad person, because I'm a horrible person, well, then that's probably something unhealthy. That's probably something you need to start working on. That's self-talk you need to change. Totally.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But if it's just simply, I'm not good enough because I don't keep my place spotless, I'm not that you're a slob, but just that you're busy, your place is tidy, but it's not Instagram tidy,
Yes.
So I think there's got to be a element of self-reflection and realism that
Gotta be realistic.
goes with that.
Okay, and just time is running out on us, Kylie. What's the fifth point there? What's Vani's fifth point?
Every mum needs a village.
Oh, everyone needs a village. I think. Yeah,
Absolutely. I think she nailed it when she said this. First-time mums, it's hard going, and you need that support.
Yep.
Just as every single person needs a village, they need that support. We are wired to be connected. We are wired to belong, to have that sense of belonging, and to have that safe place where we can just be ourselves.
Yeah,
and
I'm a really firm believer, Kylie, in that sort of the natural structure of the family and of humanity was to live in often a literal village and to have extended family around you so that, children are cared for by aunties and uncles and grandparents and older sisters and cousins. And it's not this situation where there's just one poor mum in a house in the suburbs with the doors and windows locked all by herself struggling through. I mean, that seems really unhealthy. So somehow we need to find a way to build this network to, find these people who can be a part of our child raising, and in return to realise that we need to be a support for other people.
Absolutely. I think the best way to burn out is to burn your village down, because it's by creating that village and being part of it that actually you gain strength from.
Yeah. Boy, and as Vani says all through this article, this is not just something for mums. This is something for all of us. All of us need a village. All of us need a support network. Loneliness is at epidemic levels right now. Yeah, we've been through some hard times this year in 2020. People need people. That's what it comes down to. So, look, Kylie, for many of our listeners will be wondering, hey, how can I find out more about Mums at the Table? Where do I go? What tips can you give?
Great place to start is to head to the website, Mums at the Table. There you'll find a whole lot of...
mumsathetable.com, isn't it?
Yes, mumsathetable.com.
Okay.
You'll find a whole lot of resources there from segments for the show.
Oh, okay. So video segments? Yep.
Yeah, video segments. You'll find printables there that you can download and print off from... daily schedules to all manner of things.
Different activities, how-to instructions, recipes.
Behaviour management charts.
Oh, wow, okay.
The whole lot.
Yep.
And then another great resource is joining the main group there.
The Mums at the Table group on Facebook. Yep.
Definitely. And if there's a local Facebook group that is in your area, I'd recommend joining that too. We're just getting them going, so keep your eyes peeled because there are definitely more in the pipeline. And so if there's not one in your area yet,
there could be soon.
Sounds
fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really great, Kylie. So I guess the message is clear. The website is there, mumsathetable.com. If you're into YouTube, just go to YouTube, search Mums at the Table. It should, those video segments should pop up. If you're big on Facebook, go to Facebook, search Mums at the Table. You should find the page there, like it, so you can follow what happens there. And then,
Instagram.
Yeah, Instagram, yep. And as Kylie says, there's all these closed groups as well. So, join one of those, be a part of the community if you're a mum out there listening. We don't want you to be isolated. We don't want you to feel alone. We want you to know that there's a community out there for you to help, and that can help you. Thanks so much, Kylie, for your time today and for giving us the lowdown on Mums at the Table.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me, Ken.
Today's episode was based on an article appearing in this month's Signs of the Times magazine. A subscription is just $26 for 11 issues a year. To find out more, visit signsofthetimes.org.au. Signs of the Times has been published in Australia since 1886 and is proudly produced by Adventist Media.
This is an Adventist Media podcast.